Chào mừng mọi người tham gia với Học Tiếng Anh OK. Hôm nay chúng ta sẽ nói chuyện về sự hạnh phúc là gì đối với chúng mình. Vậy thì chúng ta sẽ nói chuyện bằng tiếng Anh thôi.
Okie dokie. All right, I've got an interesting question for you today. And it's something that I think a lot of people think about a lot of times and they don't really realize they're thinking about it. What is happiness?
That's a very deep question.
Yeah, it is.
I think there are a lot of people that look for happiness. There are people that study happiness. And
Yeah, it's a real thing.
What is happiness? I don't know. I think when we can talk more about this and dive deeper into it. But like, for me, one of the big things that I feel like relates to my happiness is staying true to what I believe is right. Because if I feel like I'm going against whatever my values are, then that immediately leads to like discontent with my life. I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling happy because I know I'm doing something that's not what aligns with who I am.
Interesting. The reason I asked this question was because about 3 weeks ago, I was at BYU. We were at our university, and this professor came from Harvard. Harvard is one of the most famous universities in the world, and he is a professor of happiness, which is super cool to think about. So he works at Harvard Business School. His name is Arthur Brooks. You can read more about him. He has a book. He's got videos that you can learn more about his stuff. And he posed the question to us of what is happiness? And what I thought was interesting is he said most of the time people think it's a feeling. It's an emotion. But really it's not. It's not an emotion because you can feel good and feel like pleasure or satisfaction. And that's not necessarily happiness. The way he made it make sense was think of when you go to a meal with your family and you're walking the door and that smell hits you. You just can smell everything. That's the emotion part of the meal. That's not what makes it happy. What makes it happy is the time you spend with your family, the foods you eat, the experiences you have, the memories you create together. That's what makes it so happy. It's not just the smell. The smell is evidence of a happy time, but it's not happiness. When do you think you've been happiest in your life?
I don't know, because like to say when I've been happiest would be like, are we talking about a specific event where I was like, oh, that's the happiest
Just
moment?
like a time.
Or just like the period of time
Period
is
of
the
time.
happiest? I don't know. Like I feel like right now is kind of that period for me.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm exploring a lot of new things and I'm doing a lot of things that I really love to do. But I'm also meeting new people, connecting with people in different ways that I haven't before, which is really exciting because it's like broadening my view of the world and just kind of how I fit into it. So that's something that like I feel like is helping with my overall happiness or just my general sense of feeling good. But like you said, I mean, I guess it's not a feeling of feeling good.
It's like a state of being almost. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
For me, I think there's a lot of time periods where I've been really happy in my life, but two stick out to me the biggest. The first was when I was living in Bình Dương in Vietnam. I was so nervous and so scared when I first got there because everything was different, but I met so many amazing people. So shout out to all my friends in Bình Dương. I love you guys, and I just had such an amazing time. I met so many amazing people, had so many great memories, and I served people. We were working full-time as volunteers, and that was just so much fun. I felt like I had a purpose. I felt like I knew why I was there. It was so wonderful. The other time is right now. I feel so happy. Like you said, I'm trying lots of new things. My family is so amazing. I've got lots of little brothers, and they're getting older to the point where we can be friends, and they're not just like little babies that live at our house. They're like people that I can be friends with. I'm really proud of my parents. I'm proud of my siblings. My sister has 2 kids, and they're awesome. And there's lots of things I'm stressed about and nervous about, but I'm happy because I know that no matter what happens with all these other things that are stressing me out, I have my family, I have my friends, I have lots of really great opportunities around me, and it's just super cool. I'm really fortunate, really lucky right now.
I agree. I mean, life's good at the moment, which is great. Super happy about that. Now, one question I might ask is like, what's the difference between being happy and having joy.
Yeah.
Like, what are the differences between those?
So the way that Arthur Brooks was talking about it was different than like a religious sense. Sometimes in a religious sense, joy and happiness is the same thing, like we're talking about. His definition of joy, though, was more fleeting. It's temporary. It doesn't last. And so that's not the definition of joy we always use in our life, but his definition was that joy was something like when you accomplish something that you've been working towards, like that's joy, but it doesn't last, right? If you work towards a goal, that's really great. You feel really good, but like it lasts so short. It doesn't last forever. This kind of happiness is sustained through that stuff. And the way he talked about it was so cool. So for those of you out there that like math, think about a fraction. You have one number on top and it's divided by another number. And in order to make this number bigger, there's two ways we can do that. We can increase the number on top, or we can decrease the number on the bottom. And that'll make our fraction worth more. And so Arthur Brooks said you can have your halves on top, the things you have, and the things you want on the bottom. So there's two ways you can increase your happiness. You can increase your halves, but that's more fleeting. It doesn't last very long. You have to really just be constant, and that doesn't lead to lasting happiness. Or you can decrease your wants, which I thought was super fascinating. He's like, that is what leads to lasting joy. What kind of things do you think you could, like, how could you decrease your wants? What do you think he meant?
I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind for me would be like gratitude. If you're being grateful for the things that you do have, that's one of the ways that's like, okay, I have all of this already. I don't necessarily want anything else. Because that gratitude is like a way to give a bigger appreciation for what you already have. And it kind of helps you focus on like, okay, I don't need as much, or I don't want as much, because you are grateful for what you do have, and it's a bigger piece of your life.
Exactly. I totally agree. Gratitude is a way to make you feel happier. He recommended just like writing in your journal once a day something you're grateful for, or a list of things you're grateful for. And he's like, there's research that shows that people that do stuff like that are happier people. And so if you want to feel more happiness in your life, try that. I think it would be really cool. The other thing that he talked about was trying to step away from really strong opinions that he had. He wanted to decrease his political opinions, to step away from those political opinions, because really what it led to was contention within friendships, within relationships. And he's like, it doesn't really build anything. He's like, I'm not a politician. I don't have any sway on these political issues. And so he's like, I'm just going to walk away. And he's like, that's not for everybody, but that's just what works for me. And so there's other things. It doesn't necessarily need to be things. It can just be ideas that we can walk away from that will help us have more peace with other people.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. I mean, the fact that you bring up Arthur Brooks in general, because in last semester I took a class about like integrity, and we were talking about how to like be a person that follows our values and things. And we read one of his books. I can't remember the name of it, but like he talked about how to argue with people in a way that's not damaging or hurtful, especially in regards to politics. Like he talks about all these ways that you can communicate well instead of just like lighting everyone up and getting everyone angrier. And I thought that was really insightful. I haven't thought about it in a second, but he definitely has this desire to be peaceful in the world instead of like bringing out contention and anger, which I think is really cool. And I think that just shows how he's searching for like that happiness and that peace in his own life by helping other people figure it out for themselves. Yeah,
it's so cool. He's a really cool guy. If you guys want to learn more about his ideas, we can include a link maybe to like his website or his research. But it's really fascinating stuff. And if you want to learn more about any of this stuff, just ask us, or send us a comment, send us a message. We'd be happy to keep talking about it with you.
Yeah, and we'd also love it if you would drop a comment down below and say what happiness is to you, or maybe the ways that you're able to find joy in the world.
Yeah. And please like and subscribe. Hey, thank you for watching this video. If you want some more listening practice, click here or here. Have a nice day.